In today's video, I'm looking at assumptions and misconceptions about being a freelancer. Coming up. Hello and welcome back to the Freelanceverse. So this is part 2 of my misconceptions and assumptions series. This is a series I started last week. If you haven't seen the video, check it out. Last week I did a video on assumptions about being a translator. I thought this would be fun, kind of a fun series where I find articles that have misconceptions and assumptions about a certain thing that's relevant to me, and then I go through it and I react to it. Now this week's article is called Misconceptions About Being a Freelancer. Of course, that's a very relevant one because this whole channel is all about freelancing. So I'm very curious for this one. And unlike the other one from last week, I actually haven't seen any assumptions of this one. So we will start fresh from assumption number 1. And I'm really curious if you actually at home, if you're also a freelancer and if you agree with them. So let me know in the comments, each individual one if you want to. Does it apply to you? Does it not? And I would say, let's get right into it. I will do it at the screen here, so I'm gonna switch camera angle right now. See you. So there we are. I think it's recording, yes. So we have the article here, 12 common misconceptions about freelancing. So it's 2 more than the last week's videos, but I'm just gonna go a bit faster, not that the video doesn't get too long. So yeah, let's get right into it with the first one. I'm just gonna read out the bold ones again and give you my answer, and then we can read through what the article actually says. Number 1, freelance work makes you socially awkward. Oh, okay. Wouldn't say it makes you socially awkward, but it can make you socially distant if you're not careful about it. So especially if you work from home as a freelancer, which you don't necessarily need to, but most people do. You really need to make sure to meet the people that you would usually meet as well, and just, you know, don't like become a shell at home and never go out, because yeah, you during the work you most likely don't speak to actual co-workers. You speak with them on the phone and emails, etc. But most likely you work on your own, and of course work is a big part of the day. So just make sure that the rest of the day you go outside and stuff. So maybe it can make you socially awkward, but if you are aware of it, it shouldn't. Number 2, freelancers work from home. This is true for me. I work from home most of the times. Now this year anyways, I work from home all of the times. Usually when there's no pandemic, I tend to go out about 2 days per week. Usually on one day I meet a group of other freelancers and we work together somewhere in the city of Brussels. And then another day of the week I usually go into a cafe or a co-working space here in the surroundings. But of course not every freelancer works from home. It depends. There are so many freelance professions. Some you can't work from home. If you're a photographer, for example, and you go to events and stuff, and yeah, you can't always work from home. But for me, it's true. Number 3, freelancers make less money. Less money than employed people, I guess, they assume. Now, this is not necessarily true. This depends a lot also on the place where you live, where you come from. Now, in Switzerland, I would say it tends to be true. I have to say I'm happy that I moved away when I started freelancing. Maybe if I stayed in Switzerland, maybe I would have never started, because it's really hard to get to that standard of life, that quality of life with the freelancing salary when you start off. So it was really good for me to move to the Netherlands, where the cost of living is much lower. Yeah, then you just develop, right? And it depends where you live. Now I live in Brussels and I make probably more money than I could as a translator employed in Brussels. Actually, definitely I make more money than I could as an employed translator here. And then, you know, how much you work as well. Lots of people do freelancing so they don't have to work full time because they have a family to take care of or whatever. And so yeah, the next one I see, freelancers make more money. Yeah, so money is, of course, it's important for freelancers, but you have to keep in mind that the freedom you get through freelancing is also worth a lot of, not money, but another value, just freedom, time, no commute, usually no stress at work because you are your own boss, right? So yeah, keep in mind that you don't only work for money, but if you enjoy what you do and you can turn it into something that doesn't feel like work, that's also worth a lot. Now, Amy says this is not necessarily true. Many freelancers make more than their employed counterparts. Of course, also especially in translation, the salaries tend to be quite low as an employed translator, which is sad, but it's true. That's why as a freelancer you can tend to make more money. Number 5, freelancers don't answer to anyone. That's not true. I mean, freelancers don't answer to a boss per se, like any other person would, but I mean, the clients are our bosses, if you will. We answer to them, right? So I hear actually sometimes, that's another misconception, maybe it will come up, but I hear sometimes people tell me, oh, if I were you, if I had your job, I would just sleep until 12 or sometimes not do anything on Mondays, etc. You know, you can't, because you have deadlines and you have to answer to the client, right? You can't just sleep and hope that you're gonna make a living, right? You have deadlines, you need to get up and do the job. I would say no, we don't answer to anyone for sure. Amy says this is one of the biggest misconceptions. For the duration of a project, your client is your boss. Yeah, exactly what I said. Number 6, freelancers don't work as hard as everyone else. That's not true in my opinion. That completely depends on the person. I think people tend to work even a bit more or take it more seriously, because if you don't work, you don't earn money. Whereas if you're employed, you sometimes can take, just when you don't feel well, you sometimes just like doze off and sit for half a day and not do anything. Some people, of course, some have so much to do and work very hard. The thing is, you can kind of piece it together yourself. Like now this week on Monday, for example, I already reached my goal for the month, basically. I still want to get more, of course, but I felt a bit almost burnt out because I worked a lot in September. So I thought Monday I'm just going to take the day off, and I did. You just are more free, but I still feel like freelancers work very hard. I know many people who don't do any weekends, they just work through. Which is not healthy, of course, but yeah, I don't think this assumption is true. Amy says it can be tough to find a decent gig. Oh, of course, yeah. Some freelancers, when they don't have consistent work, like for me, I'm lucky enough to have clients that come every day, no matter what. I always have at least something to do. But yeah, some freelancers go through a drought of work, and then they don't have anything for weeks or months. That can be very tough. Also mentally, that can be very taxing. And then you don't work as hard as everyone else because you don't have anything to do. Yeah, but you also need to continuously build up your skills. That's true. It's a very competitive game. So she's not really answering the assumption. I would say it's not true. Freelance work is always exciting. No, not true. Like any other job, it can be very boring. Some tasks you just have to do. Like there are some things that I have to do every month and it's just boring. Taxes, you have to do a lot of taxes stuff, and it's just, for me, it's the worst, but you have to get through it. And then there are always projects that are not exciting. I try to find things that I like. I try to specialize in topics that I'm interested in, but still sometimes you will just get a survey that's really not exciting, but you just get through it. It's a job, right? Amy says, like any other job, freelancing can be boring. Okay, that's exactly what I said. No, word for word. That's weird. I really haven't seen these. So it also often involves a lot of administrative work that isn't necessarily doing the work that you love. Wow, we say exactly the same. Number 8, freelancers don't have employee benefit. Yeah, that depends on the country, of course. I see that there's 401k in the answer, so I'm assuming Amy is American. Now here in Belgium, I do have benefits, so I pay my own social contributions, right? Usually here when you're employed, you pay half of the social contributions and the other half is paid by the employee, by the employer. And I think that's in most countries in Europe, it's similar or the same. But me, as I'm my own boss, I have to pay the whole bunch of social contributions, which is a lot. Here in Belgium, it's based on the revenue you get. It's a cut, so there's a minimum that you have to pay either way, and then if you make more than the minimum in revenue, you pay a certain percentage of that per quarter. And yeah, there included I get some benefits. So I have health insurance. If something happens to me, an accident, I'm insured. I also have even some kind of unemployment scheme. So if something happens, like the pandemic, for example, I had more than enough work during it, for example. Luckily, but a lot of freelancers were just completely on hold. If you work in the event industry, this year is really tough for you. And in my plan that I pay, there is some kind of benefit, so I would have had the chance to be helped out, but of course very little. And the pension as a freelancer is almost non-existent, so you really need to save your own money while you do this. Just pay into your own pension scheme and make your own future, basically. Freelancing is not legit. I mean, this is a common misconception or a common assumption, and legit is a weird term. I mean, freelancing is just an overarching term. Like, what does it really mean? I mean, I have a company here in Belgium, you know, I have an official, I registered in the Chamber of Commerce, so of course it's legit. I could also just say I'm an entrepreneur, I own a company and stuff, but I just feel like it's sometimes a bit pretentious because the term freelancer or freelancing can be seen as a bit of a negative way because especially in the construction industry, I know that if they bring in a freelancer, the work is probably not going to be that good. You know, there's this misconception of freelancers not doing a good job. I just like to call myself freelancer because it has free in the name and it makes you feel, you have freedom, you do the stuff how you want it, you're your own boss. It's not an official legal entity, right? You can't open a freelancing business, at least not here. Here you open your company, that's it. Freelancers should work for free. Okay, no. Because it says free or what? Okay, no, that's just wrong. As I said, it's just another word for self-employed people. We don't work for free. And you have to sometimes educate clients that being a freelancer doesn't make you cheaper than anyone else. Like, if someone thinks that way, just tell them, no, I'm an entrepreneur, I have a company, I have an office, I need to pay, I need to pay taxes, that's it. There are thousands of posts asking freelancers to do it for the love or accept exposure of you. That's actually true. I've seen that a lot also in translation. Like there would be job offers online and then you write with them and you find it really interesting, and then you come to the money part and they say, we just thought we could just put your name and your company in the title or in the book or something, and you just get exposure from it. What? No, I don't care about exposure. I want money. That's crazy. Freelancing hurts businesses. What they probably mean, I'm assuming, is that freelancers undermine companies in terms of business, in terms of pricing, which can be true, but the freelancers that do that, they also undermine other freelancers in pricing, because the freelancers like me who take it seriously, they see themselves as a business and they charge accurate prices. Of course, I have to charge less than a company with 50 employees because I don't have to pay 50 employees, you know what I mean? But that's also the benefit of working with a freelancer. Some companies like to have a big corporation behind them. They can really feel like they trust them more because there are more eyes to look in it. But some people like the human touch, like I said in the previous video, and I don't think it hurts businesses. It drives competition as long as it's done well. So, sorry for that, I'm back. My camera just died. So, where was I? So actually the last point already. So, all freelancers want to get a regular job. No, that's definitely not true. Not all freelancers. In fact, most freelancers probably want to avoid getting a regular job, because what I see that most people, they had a regular job for years and then they kind of want to live more freely when they are a bit older and they become freelancers. That's at least most people that I meet. It's actually quite rare, at least for me, to see younger people that go into freelancing quite from an early age on. So for me, it's definitely not excluded that I will go back to a regular job. I had a regular job before. And it's probably even likely that I will return at one point, but that's neither good or bad, right? It's just it needs to fit your specific moment in life. But definitely not all freelancers want to get a regular job. But of course, some people, they don't get enough work as a freelancer and they are forced to get a regular job also next to it. Amy says, while it's true that some people do contract work to supplement their income, there are a growing number of people whose first choice is freelance work. Yes, true, non-traditional families, millennial generation, that's true. A lot of digital natives who just work as freelancers. Freelancing isn't for everyone. It takes time, energy and stamina to learn the ropes that bring forth success as a self-employed business owner. Definitely true, yeah. So that's why I always say if you can somehow start next to it, start next to a job, start next to studies, because then you have time to learn, you can read books, you can watch videos, you can talk to other people who do it, who are successful, and you can learn without the pressure you have. Or if you have enough money saved that you can just give yourself maybe a year or so to learn all the ins and outs and all to make it successful. And that's it. That's the article done by Amy Leland. It's the Harpoon blog. I guess she is writing the Harpoon blog. And let me know what else you want to know, what other assumptions or misconceptions that might be relevant. Please consider to subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Thank you very much for watching, and I see you next time. Bye-bye.